Good morning, my friends. Take off my mask, and I hope you're wearing one. I do want to welcome you to Sunday morning. We are moving forward with this. If you don't know, our center is locked up and we can't get into it to do a Sunday or a Wednesday. So we're doing it on video. And I want to thank Katrina for all of her expertise in putting this together so that you can see it. I love all of the response that I'm getting from the program. I'm just looking at my hair. I think Dennis Merritt Jones and I are. It's funny. Both of us are going to start looking like we're in 1960 again. Or not 60, but what? How about 66 to 68 around in there? Anyhow. I do want to welcome you again and thank you for spending this special time with me. I am loving doing this way, and I really love hearing from all of you. So let me know if you see this and how you feel about it. I have a wonderful quote, and I wanted to think about the experience that we're all moving through, and I would like to base my lesson this morning on getting through it. Dr. Holmes said, when you know what and who you are, you can move through anything and be unmoved by it. I found a wonderful quote of Dr. Ernest Holmes, the founder of religious science, Science Mind. Dr. Holmes said, "We rejoice that every moment is a pulsation of spirit. Every moment is a pulsation of spirit." He also said these very interesting words. Man, he said, is not in blind fight. Not fight, but flight. Let me read it again. Man is not in blind flight. He is winging with the mind through new environments and new achievements. He can soar, he can rest, but the journey is onward. Well, our journey is onward as we move through this virus experience and flow forward into greater awareness, to use this time in such a way that it begins to evolve as our own experience, as love in action, as positive growth. I just heard a discussion on television where they are pointing out that things will never be the same again. Well, maybe we're seeing right now some things clearly that we've needed to see for a while. Change for the better. What is it? Dr. Holmes said that the only thing in the universe that will never change is change. Now, this very moment that you're hearing this can be of great importance to you. It is the moment to do something, to redirect your energy in such a way, the energies of what? Of your consciousness. Now you can do this, and here's how you do it. You clear out old ideas and let new ideas claim your attention completely. To let go and let God is different than trying to make God or beg God or beseech God. as you let go and let new ideas dominate your attention. This could be defined as spiritual regeneration. Spiritual regeneration of your whole consciousness. This is to think the way the divine mind thinks. You see, thinking rightly about this science we call the science of mind, religious science, we begin to discover as we study religious science that thinking rightly makes this science a fact in our life, not a speculation or a hope, but a fact. Dr. Raymond Charles Barker pointed out once, he said these words, "Why wait for your worries to catch up with you?" You see, if you begin to study the law of cause and effect, what happens as you begin to study it, it begins to free you into the awareness and the power of understanding cause and effect. You will discover that thinking rightly makes this science, again, a fact in your life. And as Dr. Holmes used to say quite often, we in the New Thought movement do not ask anybody to park their brains in the car before they walk through our doors. Now, again, why wait for your worries to show up? We find ourselves observing ourselves, and then observing ourselves, as P.D. Ouspensky taught very clearly. If the negative dominates your thinking, what you're doing is you're interfering with your own spiritual potential. You're interfering with the spiritual potential that is always inherent in your inner self. You see the divine urge within you, desire. I love it. I was on the radio out of San Francisco for 25 years. Much of that time was with Dr. Lloyd Tupper, my dear and wonderful friend. Lloyd, if you're watching this, love you, guy. Lloyd Tupper and I shared the air for many years out of San Francisco. One day I was in the radio station with Lloyd, and a Protestant minister came up and introduced himself and said to us that he loved our radio programs, he loved what we were teaching, and agreed with most of it, but one thing he didn't agree with was that we have choice. And when he told me he didn't believe he had choice, I reminded him that that was his choice. Now, what happens if you choose not to choose? You'll create an environment, a situation, a person, place, or thing, a child, a husband, a wife, something that will choose for you. Choose this day whom you shall serve, the blessing or the curse. Now, again, that's not two powers. That's two ways of using one power. Now, let's look at the concept of the power for good. My radio program was entitled The Power for Good. I based it and presented it the way Dr. Holmes did this thing called life. for many years on ABC radio out of San Francisco. I mean, out of Los Angeles. Now, let's look at the idea of good. Good is always where you are, and your next thought can know it. Your next thought can reveal it. It takes real redirection in consciousness to make this happen, but it can happen. Change your thinking, change your life. This has been a foundation of the New Thought teaching for years. Your spiritual progress in this thing called life is waiting on your next idea to come forth. Your spiritual progress in this thing called life is centered in some good in you. The challenge is to let it be good as you. In a situation like we're moving through right now, I admit there's a challenge of seeing the good in it, but we've got to know that we're going to come out of this changed, yes. This is all going to go in the history books, but why don't we let go and let something wonderful also emerge from this lockdown of the world and move forward? Somebody asked me the other day, they want to know, is there any sin in religious eyes? I found a quote by our wonderful Dr. Raymond Charles Barker, who said, procrastination is a metaphysical sin. Procrastination is a metaphysical sin. Now, why is that true? I think Dr. Barker knew it was true because it is procrastination. If you say greater good is my acceptance when I get around to it, okay, your challenge is to wake up and know that the good that you're looking for is looking for you because you're part of one thing. What I'm looking for is looking for me, and there's nothing in the way of it. So, procrastination does what? Procrastination delays joy, it delays happiness. It's probably doing this with more people we haven't even aware of. Because most of the world is conforming to the world. Then there are those who understand that the renewing of our mind will renew our experience. Why is this true? It's true because today is God's day of possibility for you. Today is God's day of possibility for you to bring to pass the desires of your heart, the health of your body, the love of your life. But the keys to greater success and greater good and greater happiness, greater love, greater health, the key to it all is the way you handle your consciousness. The key to your greater good is in the handling of consciousness. That's a good idea. If we think about it, we realize that it is not dependent on other people. It's not dependent in the in the time which we are living our life? It's not determined by old past patterns of fear and worry. Over the years, people will come up and say, Dr. J, I need some faith. I'm just so worried. And I will point out to them that worry is negative faith. It's just faith that everything's going to go wrong. So it's not whether you have faith or not, it's what you're going to do with that faith. The key to understanding and doing something positive with it is think what you want and repeat the process often until you really believe it is so. Now, your former definition of yourself may not be so, but the challenge, and this is why we have classes in religious science and science of mind. Dr. Holmes said once that there are a lot of people who do what we do in New Thought, in Unity, Divine Science, Religious Science, CSL, Anton, Emerson Institute. What we're doing is we're thinking about what we think about because we realize our thinking is producing our experience. So we take on the challenge. We choose to saturate our consciousness with greater good ideas. By creative ideas, Jesus asked, don't you know you're God's? He said, it's done unto you as you believe, not if you believe. So we wake up. And in our awakened stage of consciousness, we realize that all life awaits our acceptance of it and our mental adoption of its simple rules. Think on these things. I'm here on Sunday morning and Wednesday with a lesson. My dear friends, Reverend Dr. Maxine Kay and Michael Gerdes, Reverend Michael. These two dear people are great, great religious science teachers. They are about to start a Saturday morning program where they're going to go through the entire textbook. I think that's great. I know that Dennis Merritt Jones is putting something wonderful on video. I love what Harry Moses is doing with his dog. And Harry has been a good and dear friend for, good Lord, 40 years. We're about to celebrate our 45th anniversary in July. And for 45 years, I have been in this pulpit teaching what I've been teaching, and I have discovered that Dr. Holmes was right. The more you know, the more you know, there's more to know. Know that yourself, my friends. Bless you. Love is blessing you. Thank you for sharing this time with me. And have a beautiful, beautiful now. Namaste. Now, I want to mention, and Katrina will appreciate this. Katrina is my assistant, and she is amazing. She edits and puts all this together, and keeps the church together, and keeps me together, and I really love and appreciate her. All ministers should have a Katrina working with them. She doesn't work for me, she works with me. And I love her dearly, and I love what she's doing for here. So thank you, Katrina. And also, again, thank all of you who are sharing your love offering with us. I really appreciate it and love you for it. We don't have a congregation in front of us to pass a basket, so I'm passing the metaphysical basket and asking you for donations. We have lots of ongoing expenses that we would appreciate you helping us with, and we will celebrate you. It's all coming from God, through God, to God. And I thank you for it. And now, my friends, let's have a closing treatment. I have been receiving a number of treatment requests, and I know that if you want spiritual mind treatment, we'll be happy to do that for you. Our practitioners and ministers, we have our love line here in Fremont, in the Tri-City area, with our center. We are also affiliated with International New Thought Alliance. I serve on the board of INTA. And we work with their wonderful prayer department. And we're also hand in hand with Silent Unity. And what a magnificent work Unity is doing. I love so much. I'm getting to know more and more of the Unity ministers, being on the board of INTA and Anton and Emerson Institute. What a clear bunch of dedicated, incredible metaphysicians out there teaching what we teach. Pay attention, there's a lot of it on video right now. And some of the best teachers around are still here teaching. So take advantage of it. And now let's take advantage of our closing treatment. Let's go within, and I've been asked by a number of people to do a treatment for work, and I'll be happy to do that. Let's see what we're dealing with in consciousness and affirm it. Because in truth, we all work for God. So let's know there's one life, it's God, it's our life. It's everything we are, it's everything we have been, and everything we will be. We move forward in this moment and know that all work is God's work. As I speak my word now in first person, join with me in consciousness and affirm with me in first person, in your heart and mind, this day. I give my heart and hands to my work. I do it with joy. Even though we are in lockdown by way of this virus experience around the world, I know that my work is blessed, and I now find the good in it above and beyond any good I found before. I find ways to work and to give my best to my center, to my family, to my church from this experience. This place with harmony. As I open up the doors in my mind, I open up the doors in my life to greater possibility. Realizing that I am in my right place right now, I now know, or I will be shown, why I'm here. And I will be shown and directed into the consciousness that produces greater good. As my health, my happiness, my love, I feel great satisfaction in doing my work and doing it beautifully, wonderfully. For in all work I am expressing infinite spirit, creative spirit in my life. The creative spirit of all life is the creative spirit of my life. I give full attention to my work. I bring about conditions that cause the universal mind to open up and let its powers for good flow through me, as my spiritual family, as my friends, as my family, my children, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren. I know right where they all are, God is. I accept right now and know I know that its power for good is flowing through me as me. It is my power. And so I direct it for greater good. My work improves. My work expands, and I develop the traits of character that mark the enlightened person. I do that which enriches my life. I now do that which enriches my life. I now do that which enriches my life. I work for and am an expression of God. I work for and I am an expression of God. What a great way to end this treatment. I work for and I am an expression of God. And that's the way it is and was and shall be in the now and forever. Because that's what we're part of all the time. I love you, dear people. Have a wonderful now and move forward. Wash your hands, be safe, and know we're going to move through this and come out the other side in a positive way. I celebrate all of our graduates from school, and I honor the whole experience you're moving through. A celebration of your graduation into adulthood, into life, into joy, whether it's high school or college. I know greater good's right where you are. And I appreciate you spending this time with me. Namaste.